Hello and welcome to Garibaldi Resources Virtual Rock Talk. My name is Russell Ashton and I'm going to be walking you through the 2019-2020 highlights for the Nickel Mountain property. Hopefully by the end of the presentation, everyone has a good idea of where this property is and the relevant geology and geochemistry, as well as the exploration objectives moving forward. If you're interested, I'll also be hosting a talk tomorrow on the geochemical trends found within the high-grade nickel-copper PG mineralizations found on the property. Quick introduction to some of the team members involved on the property. We have Jeremy Hansen, who is the VPX for Canada for Garibaldi. We also have Dr. Peter Lightfoot, who is our technical advisor. And then Tom Beckler and myself for exploration geologists. Here's a forward-looking statement that highlights Jeremy Hansen as the QP for Garibaldi Resources. So Garibaldi has properties that are located across BC and some select properties within Mexico. The Nickel Mountain property is our flagship property within BC and is located within the Golden Triangle, as well as within the Escape Rift. The Golden Triangle is a historic and prolific mine camp, rich in base and precious metals. And some of the world-class discoveries within the triangle include Eskay Creek, Snip, KSM, Bruce Jack, and Red Chris. So this is a rich area for gold, silver, copper, porphyry, and VMS environments, as well as a rift center for magmatic nickel-copper PGE deposits. Nickel Mountain contains the ENL intrusion, and this is where our high-grade nickel-copper PGE mineralization sits. And it's located here in the south of the land package. Within the property, we have multiple showings of other nickel-copper mineralization, gold and zinc mineralization. And most recently, the Casper project up in the northwest has some interesting gold results, which I'll talk about later in the presentation. Timeline for exploration at Nickel Mountain started in 1958 with Ed and Lila Fries, who found Gossin's outcrops at Nickel Mountain. Silver Standard and Sumitomo both had exploration programs between the mid-1960s and early 1970s. The 1965 drilling had very short holes, 5 to 30 meters in depth, and never intercepted massive sulfide. Sumitomo put an adit in around 350 meters lower than where we know the massive sulfides to sit, and the holes were vertical and never intercepted massive sulfide. In Silver Standard dropped the property in 2016, and GGI acquired it and consolidated the land package. As well as in that year, channel sampling was completed from the Gossin outcrop at Nickel Mountain, and tenor analysis came back with very positive results, up to 8% nickel and 100% sulfide. Since 2017, we've been drilling ever since and completed 96 drill holes to date. Our 2019 to 2020 program focused on two major areas. The first was step outs of extensional massive sulfide mineralization to add tonnage. And the second were long exploratory holes down plunge of the ENL intrusion to look for more massive disseminated net textured sulfide mineralization. In 2020, drilling intercepted mafic, ultramafic rocks of what we now term as the Eastern Extensional Zone, which extends the ENL intrusion about 650 meters down plunge to the southeast. This discovery guides exploration at depth and allows us to look for more massive, net textured, and disseminated sulfides associated with the zone. Our field program uncovered ENL intrusion type rocks about 850 meters to the west of Nickel Mountain, and this extends the footprint of ENL intrusion to the west and allows us to look for sulfide away from the current drilling footprint on surface. 2020 drilling in 2020 also gave us our widest mineralized intercept to date in hole 89, and this was 151.6 meters of, on average, 0.88% nickel and 0.89% copper, and also extended the northeast massive sulfide zone 6 meters to the south. Here is the geological map associated with Nickel Mountain. The takeaway here is that the E&L intrusion is in place within mudstones and siltstones of the Hazelton group. The Hazelton sediments extend to the northeast and southwest along this corridor, as do the other pods of gabbro, which we can see here that have similar trend. So the Hazelton group corridor is a good environment to explore for nickel copper PGE sulfides, similar to what we find at E&L. The Nickel Mountain, or E&L intrusion, I should say, is broken up into zones. We have the E&L zone, the second zone, and the newly discovered eastern extensional zone. And it's surrounded by two different surrounding units. We have the mudstones and siltstones of the Hazelton, as well as we have the Nickel Mountain gabbro, which is our barren to weakly mineralized leucocratic gabbro. As far as we know, the relationship between the Nickel Mountain gabbro and E&L gabbro are enigmatic, but there appears to be some transitional quality between the two. However, this is still up for debate. Regardless, the Nickel Mountain gabbro appears to surround the E&L intrusion. The Nickel Mountain gabbro has been dated to early Jurassic, with some samples giving dates of 180 million years, plus or minus 0.6 million. The E&L intrusion plunges to the southeast and has current extensional trends of the intrusion intercepted at approximately 650 meters down plunge. The high-grade nickel copper PGE sulfides are found hosted by Hazelton group sedimentary mudstones and siltstones as footwall deposits, shown here by the upper discovery zone and the lower discovery zone. And they're also adjacent to orbicular to variable textured olivine gabbros containing disseminated to net textured sulfides. There's also contact style massive sulfides in the northwest and northeast zones, and these typically surround the E&L intrusion. Here's a photo of showing the projection of the E&L intrusion on the south flank of Nickel Mountain, and gives you an idea of where it has been explored to date. I'm going to show a 1-minute video of the model of the E&L intrusion with overlaying assays. The intrusion is in purple, and the assays are shown as nickel tenor. The large concentration of higher tenor right here are the footwall zones, and the rest are made up of either the contact massive sulfides or disseminated to net textured sulfides. The lower section down here is the newly discovered eastern extensional zone. As we zoom out, you'll get a good idea of the terrain that the E&L intrusion set in. And these western flanks over here where E&L intrusion style rocks were found this year. The E&L gabbros come in a variety of textures, like the orbicular or variable textured gabbros. And so these are found throughout the E&L intrusion, and they're commonly associated with higher disseminated sulfide content. The E&L disseminated and net textured sulfides are found again throughout the E&L intrusion, with the net textured sulfides commonly proximal to the massive sulfides, making them a good indicator. The Nickel Mountain gabbro hosts the E&L intrusion. It can often be found as gradational or transitional compared towards the E&L gabbro. The massive sulfides come in two styles, as mentioned before, the contact and footwall style. Here's a picture of the contact style. And these are found adjacent to E&L intrusion and surrounding country rock. The footwalls are again hosted in sedimentary country rock, typically mudstone and siltstones of the Hazelton group. The footwalls also have textures of primary magmatic loop textures, which are coarse grain pyrrhutites, and they're surrounded by granular pentlandite and chalcopyrite. Olivine peroxenites are mafic ultramafic phase of the ENL intrusion, located in the lower parts of the intrusion, such as the eastern extensional zone. Drilling intersected this rock in 2020, and more exploration is required to fully understand its distribution at depth. There are also semi-massive sulfides present, and they're typically found above and below the massive sulfides near the contacts, and as semi-massive veins or lenses within the ENL gabbro and country rock. We do a lot of whole rock geochemistry to see how geochemistry is related to rock type and distribution within the deposit. These two figures show the difference between the ENL gabbro and Nickel Mountain gabbro when you compare the lanthanum versus deuterium ratios between the two rock types over their nickel content and their MgO number. So the ENL gabbros are denoted by a lower lanthanum versus deuterium ratio and higher nickel and MgO content. Between the two main clusters showing the ENL gabbro and Nickel Mountain, there is a apparent transitional zone between them. For the sulfide mineralogy for both Nickel Mountain massive sulfides and disseminated sulfides, or ENL massive sulfides disseminated, the average pyrrhutite content is about 70%, with almost equal parts chalcopyrite and pentlandite. Pyrrhutite shows both hexagonal and monoclinic crystal structures with a ratio of about 1:1. The granular and flame pentlandite ratio is greater than 0.95. And the nickel concentration in solid solution in pyrrhutite is on average 0.65%. Within the massive sulfides, the dominant control on silver, platinum, and palladium are tellurides. And gold is solely controlled by electrum, which is a gold-silver mixture. So the ENL intrusion model compares well with a bladed dike system, and this helps provide a framework to base future exploration on. Within the ENL intrusion model, mineralization occurs within the pipe, along the flanks, and within footwall lenses in the Hazelton group. And the recently discovered eastern extensional zone extends the strike of intrusion at depth. The bladed dike model provides context for new zones to explore, and provides potential for the ability for new massive sulfide lenses, as well as net textured and disseminated zones to exist within the lower parts of this eastern extensional zone. This map here shows the regional gabbro outcrops, the ENL Nickel Mountain gabbros here, which have been extended out to the west because of some of the new ENL intrusion style rocks that have been found out there, depicted in these two photos. Spectral analysis has proven to be to have a high degree of success for identifying gabbros on the property. Those analysis targets are shown here in yellow. And it has, in identifying the connection between the northeast, southwest surface trend of these gabbros with the northwest, southeast plunge of the ENL intrusion has remained a critical focal point. We also still continue exploration along within the areas of anomaly A, B, and C. So we're going to move on to information on the work done in Casper. So Casper was first discovered in 2018 through bushwhacking. Follow up with hand trenching of about 40 meters of exposure. Grab sampling, hand trenching, soil sampling took place in 2019, showing promising results of gold, arsenic, and lead. In 2020, we followed up with an aggressive soil sampling, trenching, and field program to uncover the vein at surface. And this yielded promising results with grades up to 249 grams per ton gold. Winter of 2020, we drilled the first 4 holes, which intercepted multiple gold-bearing veins as well as a gold-bearing volcaniclastic unit. Here's the 2019 map of the Casper vein system. The Casper vein was exposed via trenching across 120 meters length. Additional veins were discovered in the creek bed to the southeast, to the northwest, and veins were discovered to the north in a creek as well. The different colors show the years that were these assays came back from, and these samples led to the assays from these samples led to follow-up drilling in the winter of 2020. So 4 short holes were drilled to the northeast. These drill holes intersected 2 gold-bearing units, a set of quartz veins containing visible gold, and silicified mineralized tuffs interbedded with mudstones. We identified 3 major domains of veining that extend northwest, southeast, and are likely connected to veins found on surface. There'll be 2 geological sections coming up. Section 1 will be following this orientation, and section 2 will be following the orientation from drill hole 4. Before we get there, just showing some of the units that were intercepted. So here are the volcaniclastics, which is a very greenish unit. The volcanics, yeah, and then the volcaniclastics, which are these plage tuffs. They're the ones that are very silicified and have increased gold grades. The pictures below here show the gold-bearing quartz veins, and these samples here were taken from surface while trenching the gold veins. You can see the visible gold, and there's a common association with a number of sulfides with this visible gold. So here's the first geological section that shows hole 1, 2, and 3. So it intersected a number of gold-bearing quartz veins within the volcanics, as well as some within the tuff. The silicified zones are marked with red dots, and in these areas, there's a general increase in gold grades, and these are interbedded in mudstones and may extend further to depth. In some cases, the gold-bearing quartz veins cross-cut these tuff units. The best grades we have in the tuffs shown on this section are up to 8.89 grams per ton, and within the veins, 5.49 grams per ton. The second section shows the same units. The gold vein in the volcanics was intersected. Before moving into the mudstones, there was some gold within the volcanics themselves. And then we have the heavily silicified tuff units with gold grades showing about 2.47 grams per ton. The grades within the volcanics had 1.97 grams per ton. So looking at an overview of the prospects on Nickel Mountain property, This year we had exploration at Mount Shirley, and this is along the northeast southwest trend, the Enel corridor. And recent sampling from 2020 came back with samples with grades up to 2.09% nickel and copper up to 4.59% copper. Melville has numerous gabbros showing, and some with gold grades up to 5.48 grams per ton. The property has numerous zinc showings that still need to be explored. Over at Nanny Goat, samples came back with up to 2.24% copper and 8.25 grams per ton gold near the Lato Pluton, with the rocks appearing to be porphyry related. The min file Tom 1 was followed up, and samples were found to have up to 4.25% copper. Here's a list of the top 10 intercepts from Nickel Mountain, showing grades of nickel up to above 8% nickel and greater than 12.5% nickel copper. This list here coming up shows the longest intercepts to date, and both were drilled within the 2020 year with range with intercepts larger than 150 meters. So the exploration objectives for Nickel Mountain going forward will of course be discovery of a new high-grade massive sulfide zone. We also want to extend the footprint of the Enel intrusion and follow up on new surface targets. Exploration objectives for Casper are going to include extension of the footprint of the Casper vein system, data collection and continued surface exploration, and also assessing the connection between the Casper vein system and the Forest Kerr system directly to the northwest. So on behalf of the GGI team, thank you very much for listening in on this talk. If you have any questions, please reach out.